Welcome to the Circuit of Success Podcast.
The Circuit of Success Podcast.
With your host, Brett
Gilliland. Brett Gilliland, Visionary Wealth Advisory.
The Circuit of Success Podcast. Let's start the show.
Thank you all for being here. I am super excited. I grew up a Cardinal fan, and if you'd have told me, like, I don't know, 2 months ago, but let alone like 20 years ago, that I'd have the St. Louis Cardinal broadcasters here, I'd be like, you're crazy. There's no way. But we are here, and we are beyond, and it's awesome. We're going to have bottles, too, that you can buy in here. They are Cooperstown Bourbon Distillery, Cooperstown, where the Hall of Fame is at. These guys are going to sign them. You can take them home, take them to your bar, do whatever you want with them.
If it helps, I've given them home runs to people that are in Cooperstown. So just give you a little flair.
That's a good point.
He said it, I didn't.
I'm going to start with, and if you don't know, there's food back over there, so the housekeeping items. But anyway, I'm going to start with you both. This question is for both of you. Take us back to when your broadcasting days, obviously your family, you played baseball. Talk to us about when you knew you were going to be in broadcasting.
God. I'm not capable of saying or doing anything other than saying ground ball to second. My wife will tell you that. I'm not very handy. I'm not very good at other stuff. But, Harry was my grandfather. My dad skipped to the Braves for 30 years. I grew up in West St. Louis County. My parents were divorced when I was a young man, and I didn't really know him particularly well, so I would go to Atlanta and see him for a summer visitation. I'd get 2 weeks with him every year. That was about all that I saw him. And as I got to my late teens, I got an internship at Turner Broadcasting. And I worked in the graphics department. I carried cables. I ran camera. I did all the stuff behind the scenes while the Braves games were on. And one night in 1983, the LA Dodgers were in town. And at that time, the Cardinals, the Braves and the Dodgers had a horrible, vicious rivalry. They hated each other. And in this particular game, it's September, Old Fulton County Stadium. There's 50,000 people screaming like crazy. 2-run game. And Steve Howe, left-handed pitcher, you guys might remember Steve Howe, threw really hard, was set to face Chris Chambliss in the bottom of the ninth inning. Chris Chambliss was a left-handed hitting first baseman. The Braves had traded for a guy named Bob Watson, who was a right-handed hitting first baseman. Bob Watson comes on with the bases loaded. My dad's doing the game on radio. Bob Watson hits a pinch hit grand slam to win the game. Fulton County Stadium's shaking. I'm in the bowels of the stadium doing graphics for the TV people, and the stadium is shaking and rocking because the Braves somehow unexpectedly won this game. And I'm sorry it's a long story, but got to give you the background. So if you've ever been to Atlanta, you know the traffic right out here at 64 and 55. You guys enjoying that? Multiply that by 10 every day. That's Atlanta, okay? So after the game, you got 50,000 people trying to get away from the ballpark. So we go out of the broadcast booth. My dad is at a round table like that. There's Vin Scully, Ross Porter, Jaime Herreen, Ernie Johnson, Skip Caray, Ernie Johnson, Don Sutton, and me. Dad gets me a Coke and says, sit here and shut up and listen. So they start talking about the game and walking through the game, and I'm just sitting there for an hour listening to Shakespeare, Vin Scully talk about the game. Hour later, we get in the car, we drive home. The station announcer on WSB, which is like KMOX, plays my dad's radio call. And the emotion, the drama, the excitement, all the things, the wordplay, hair on the back of my neck stood up. And that's the moment when I knew, I think I want to do this. My mom's dad was a dentist in St. Louis. I thought about going to medical school. I had a great journalism law professor at UGA, Georgia. I thought about going to law school, but I chose a less honorable profession. And Bob Watson, I guess, is the reason for that. So that's my very long-winded but full disclosure story.
Love it. Thanks for sharing,
I'd say
Brett.
it's worked out quite well.
So, well, we'll see.
No, for me, it was never anything that I thought I would get into. Like, for me, I really thought, and this is funny for any of you that watch me play, I thought I was going to make enough money to never have to play again. I thought that would be a thing. Apparently not. No, but it was something near the end of my career, and I didn't know it was near the end of my career at the time. I was in the off season. I got a phone call from the program director at 101 ESPN here in town. And he said, hey, your number was passed along, and somebody thought that you would do a great job at doing a radio show, filling in. Would you be interested? And this was on a Friday. I got the call, and they said, could you come in Monday? Now, this isn't baseball season. This is college football. It's NFL. But I was like, yeah, my wife probably wants me out of the house. Like, now would be a good time to go out and try it. And I'm an over-preparer in everything that I do. So all weekend, it's copious notes. I'm digging in. And I get in there Monday. I do the first segment, and I get called out into the hallway. I said, well, I said one of the words, right? Which one? Which one did I say? Am I in trouble? They said, no, you're not in trouble. You're doing great. Could you stay the rest of the week? And the rest of the week turned into the rest of the off season. And the rest of the off season turned into, after I realized my playing career was done, it turned into a full-time gig. And they were great. I remember calling them afterwards when I knew I was done playing and say, hey, any chance you still got that job available that you offered me? Said, we've been waiting for you, like, which kind of sounded rude. Like they knew I wasn't going to do well. Like they just been leaving us.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, like they knew. But it meant the world to me. And what meant more to me was who passed my name along. And that was Chris Duncan. I don't know if you guys remember Dunk. But one of my favorite people in the world, he was the one who passed my name along, passed away, brain cancer. But that was what gets me every time. But that was the one. That he passed it along. It's turned into a career. He'd be doing this for 30 years. You'd be doing games with him. I don't know if you ever got a chance to meet Dunk. I know you know Dave, his father. But amazing family and just somebody that thought that I could do it, and it's turned into this.
Somebody said tonight, which I think is so true, for those of us that listen to Brad, like there's no formal training. To my knowledge.
Obviously, no.
No, but I think everybody says you're great, right? You're like this pitcher, this baseball player, like turned broadcaster guy. Why do you think that is?
So, well, one thing I would say, it is shocking the amount of people that give you a microphone without telling you anything. It's amazing. They just say, go get him. Okay, all right, let's do that. But it also, it tells you that people have faith in your knowledge and what you can do. And for me, I always want to be great at everything that I do. Like, it might seem silly, but I want to win at every game I play. I want to have a better broadcast tomorrow than I had today. But it's such an interesting job, and it's one that I like to learn. I like to learn from others. I've been helped by so many people along the way. Chip helps me each and every day, like, truly, of how to do this job, how to get better and better at it, and that's what I want to do. But you could talk to any broadcaster that was doing games at the time, and not one of them. You give them the whole roster of guys that might be the next broadcaster, there's no chance they would have picked me, because I'm the guy with my head in my locker praying that coffee? Anybody need coffee? That was it. That's all I said to my teammates at the time. I was the rookie. So, like, no one would have ever picked me. So it's shocking to them, too.
That's awesome. Baseball is a game of perspective, right? So what have you guys learned? We'll talk a lot of baseball here in a little bit, but what have you learned that it's helped you the most from baseball that's helped you the most off the field?
I think the way I've always put it is baseball's given me and my family everything. It's a huge part of my life, but it's this much of who I am, right? The snapshot you see of us when we're on the air and the stupid stuff we do, which when the cameras are off, we'll tell you some of the stories about that, is the fun part. It teaches you that every day is different because every game is different. Expect the unexpected, right? You don't know what's going to happen when you walk out your door. A meteor could hit you, for crying out loud. But I think to really enjoy the moment. For me, I'm 60 now, and I've been doing this for almost 40 years. The perspective it gives me is it's really important to hang around with young people, and young people who see the world differently, because you learn from them. You absorb and consume content the way that they do. Brad's the best partner I've had in that regard, and in many others, because we have so much fun. I'd like to think we have a very similar sense of humor. I hope that shows on the broadcast. But for someone like me, who would have given my right arm to throw one pitch in the major leagues, I have such great respect for players like Brad, because it was a struggle for him. He didn't get a $20 million signing bonus. He wasn't a first-round pick, yet he worked and persevered, and his talent and his drive, and as you heard, his quest to be great is what propelled him and got him to the major leagues and got him a World Series ring. And so I think that hopefully fans appreciate that about Brad. I certainly do. I've worked with guys that are Hall of Famers and are the most genuine and kind people. Tom Glavine is one. Chipper Jones is another. Jeff Francoeur in Atlanta. They were awesome. But then you also work with people that are absolute turds, and you go, why? I don't want to spend time with this guy. So the perspective is right. It's we live in life's sandbox. We really do. We want the Cardinals to win every single game they play. It makes our job a heck of a lot easier. It makes it so much easier for us to inform and entertain you guys. But at the end of the day, we're not digging ditches, and we're not fixing roofs, and we're not, taking care of prisoners in Marion, for crying out loud. So we're really, really lucky.
Hearing you name drop the name of the town, you do that during the broadcast.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that may be made up.
No, it's true. It's true. I studied fan behavior at Georgia, and every fan from a different city catches, fly balls and pop flies in a certain way. So, if you're from like Wentzville, you're kind of slow of foot. You're going to catch it on a bounce. If you're from Frontenac or Ladue in St. Louis, you're going to sit in the green seats. I mean, you're not going to sit in the upper deck, for crying out loud.
Brad seats.
Yeah, Brad seats, exactly. If you're from O'Fallon, you're going to catch the line drive left-handed with a beer in your hand and a baby in the other arm. So I worked on that, and it really comes true. Actually, Ernie Harwell started that, and my dad did it, and I stole that from him. The funniest one of those was my dad and I were walking out after doing a game at Turner Field one night. Dad had a couple of drinks, so of course I had to drive, boo. And this fan came up and said, "Skip, I just want to tell you, I'm from Roswell, Georgia." He said, "Yeah?" He said, "You said a fan from Roswell, Georgia caught a foul ball last night. That was me." And he's with 30 people. And they said, "No way." And they bought it, and it became part of the urban legend for the Braves. So, yeah, that's how we do it.
Good stuff. Good perspective on baseball, Brad.
From playing, and I wish I didn't have this perspective as often, is how to deal with failure. Like that's, it's a legit one. It's a game of failure in its sense, right? I mean, 3 out of 10 times you're a Hall of Famer if you get a hit, right? But there's so much scrutiny on you in the big leagues that if you struggle and then you crumble after that, you're done. Like, you just can't handle it. And you see it. You see it in different guys. You'll watch it. You'll see it on their face. You'll see it in their demeanor when they can't handle it. I learned a lot of failure is a solitary thing, right? It's like it happened in this moment. It's not going to happen in the next moment. I learned to really lean and rely on my preparation. Something we were talking about actually on the broadcast the other day is it's about the work that is put in, right? It's process over results oftentimes. I can look myself in the mirror at the end of the day, and if I knew the process was good, I knew I worked my butt off, I researched, I did everything that I could do to have success on that night, and if it didn't work out, I still did the right thing. And I'm going to do the right thing again tomorrow and expect different results. Now, some say that's the definition of insanity, but like that's true. Like, you just go in, if you put in the process. So I just learned that. I learned that hard work is undefeated. And if you can deal with the failures, if you can bounce back, if you can be somebody that is pliable, I think that you'll have success in whatever you do.
How important is short-term memory?
It's everything.
What'd you say?
Short-term.
Chips and goldfish. No, it's everything. And I feel like that's in every aspect of what you do. It's not that you forget. You learn from it and move on. If you're sitting there and what happened in a game 2 days ago is still weighing on you, if I'm jogging out to the mound in a game that I'm actually going to compete against somebody else and I'm thinking about a different game, then shame on me. Like, I'm not mentally prepared to be in this game. So you learn from your past experiences, but you don't let them dictate your future.
Yeah. This was not one of my questions, but I learned this from you, and I use it now with my 11-year-old baseball team that I coach, which we have some fellow coaches out here. You told me one time that the kids...
Were we playing against you? Because this could have been bad info.
Yeah, well, I owe Brad like 3 lunches because they beat the crap out of us every time they play
Not
us.
betting on children's...
No, that's true. Strike that from the cameras. No, but you said you do a pitching mound visit, right, with the kid, and the kid comes off the pitching mound, and you're like, get back on that mound, right? Talk about that mindset for the kids.
Yeah, so just with youth baseball, the last thing, and this is at any age, but the last thing you want to see is a kid defeated, right? Like, you want to see a kid head down when you're walking out there. My biggest thing, and I don't get a chance to coach as much as I like to because our kids' baseball season aligns directly with Major League Baseball season. It makes it a little bit tougher. But I want these kids to be proud of what they're doing, whether it's going well or going poorly. Stay on top of that mound. That's yours. That is your mound. You're in charge right now. So you stand there, and let's talk about how we're going to move forward. I don't care what just happened. You're awesome. Like you go out there and be confident in yourself. If you're not confident in yourself, and I don't care if you're 10 years old or 9 pitching for the first time or 40 still in the big leagues, nobody else is going to be confident in you. So I love that about a young athlete. Hey, this is yours. You stay on top of that. Look me in the eyes, and we're going to be great. I think it's important.
Chip, talk about the name Caray, right? You mentioned it earlier, your dad, your grandpa. What was that wait like for you when you got in this business?
Well, the real name was Carabina, believe it or not. Harry changed his name back in the 1920s. Harry was an orphan. He didn't know his dad. His mom died when he was like 7 or 8 years old. He lived with his aunt in Lafayette Square. He was just a guy that grew up kind of, I don't want to say a street urchin, but he was a poor kid. Went to parochial school, couldn't afford the uniform, was a pretty good baseball player. He was a second baseman. He had a college scholarship to go play baseball at Alabama, couldn't afford the train ticket to go play college and maybe change the direction of his and the rest of his family's life. He went to Webster Groves High School. Through the force of his personality, he got the Cardinals job in 1945, saw almost every at-bat of Stan Musial's career. Saw Jackie Robinson's first game, saw the Dodgers and Giants move to the West Coast, rode the train from Union Station, Dewey defeats Truman, all that stuff. And then my dad followed in his footsteps at KMOX. Bob Hyland, you guys know the name Bob Hyland? He's the general manager of KMOX. He was my godfather. That's where my parents met. My mom was one of Bob Hyland's administrative assistants, and I think they had a good time. Here I am. So that's how they met. And then I came along. For me, back when Harry was in his prime here in St. Louis in the 60s, my dad would have been 25, 26 years by Harry's final year. The greatest compliment you could have was your son followed in your footsteps, right? I've got a second generation hardware store, a third generation doctor of law practice, or we've owned the downtown deli for, 3 generations. Dad was a guy that wanted to be an athlete. He was a football player, wanted to go to Mizzou, got hurt playing football, so he had to find something else. And Harry kind of tricked him into getting into the business. He said, hey, they've got a high school football show on KMOX. They want you to come in on Friday and do the highlight show. And Dad said, okay, I'll go do it on a lark. Well, what Dad didn't know was that Harry went to every single bar that he went to in St. Louis, which you can imagine how many that was, and said, when the show's over, you call the switchboard and tell him how great Skip was. And so the phone's ringing off the hook. Dad thinks, oh, I guess I must be pretty good at this. And that's how Harry landed the hook, as it were. With me, Dad said, do whatever you want to do. There was some pressure early. My second big league job was following Harry Caray in Chicago after he died with the Cubs. And you guys know to a certain degree that the length and breadth of what Harry Caray or Jack Buck would be. Joe went through it too. We work in a personality-driven business, and it's really hard to find your own way at 30 years old in a big market following your grandfather, who you barely knew, legend, Hall of Famer, with the same last. I'm Harry Caray too. I'm the third, and trying to find your own way in the business. And there was some pressure there. But I had great partners, great teammates, and the '98 Cubs was a fun year. They made the playoffs, and as I wish I had learned here in St. Louis, please don't hold the new guy responsible. There's nothing better for a new guy than to have a really good team your first year. How'd that work out?
Not great.
Thanks.
If anybody watched 2023, that was Chip's fault.
Yeah, thank you.
100%. Had to be.
Whose fault is it now?
Too soon.
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm
really?
kidding. All right,
It's
Brad.
like Tony, it's the first month of the season.
So, Brad, you pitched in some obviously really big games in front of thousands of people, even whether you started or you came in from the bullpen. How do you replace the adrenaline of being in that moment?
What I do now is as close as it gets. There is a real adrenaline for me still, and I think this is like my 7th year doing games, or really only my 2nd or 3rd of being full-time doing games. And having in my ear a countdown of 3, 2, 1, you're live. It's like, okay.
Okay, let me interrupt you. We have a great producer named Brian Shapiro. Okay, so we do our opens. When you see us in our cute little sport coats and all that stuff, we're live. I mean, it's the camera's on and it's go time. Our producer is Brian Shapiro. He's amazing at what he does. He does a great job of keeping everything loose and ready to go. Okay, boys, we're going live in 10 seconds here in front of the crown jewel of the National League, St. Louis. It's the Cardinals, it's the Pirates. Try not to say F. You're live.
But he says the whole word, and then we go,
hi, hey, it's Cardinal baseball. Yeah.
It's every single day. It is. But that's as close as it gets. Like that adrenaline. There is nothing for me. A start day would have some adrenaline, have some jitters like to it. But to me, there's nothing like sitting in the bullpen, the phone ringing, and you anticipate, you know when you're about to get called, and then it being your name. Like that gets the juices flowing like nothing else. I haven't found like a real competitive outlet yet. I suck at golf. That's why we haven't played much. But it is something that I miss the adrenaline of playing, but I truly appreciate now getting a chance to be on some of these calls for these moments that these guys are going through those same things and those same emotions.
This is for both of you, so take it, whoever wants it. Give us a behind-the-scenes look of what happens, of things we probably don't even know is happening during a game. We're just sitting there watching it. What's going on?
Do we want the cameras on or off for this one?
Let's just start with them on and see what happens.
Okay, all right, you go first.
All right. Well, I would just say this. We work in a medium where we're supposed to speak. That's kind of part of what we do. When you're watching a game, we're describing something. Chip is going to give you the play-by-play of what the pitch is, where it's going, who caught it. I'll break down why something happened, what I think is going to happen. I'm kind of like a weatherman. I'm not right a lot, but I still have credibility somehow. Like, it's amazing. But we speak a lot. If you're ever watching a game and you don't hear words and you hear awkward silence for a pitch, 2 pitches, maybe 3 pitches, know this. Could be 5 pitches. Know this. Him and I are laughing uncontrollably and crying. Like, this happens once a game.
Can I do the one that's from this year?
Please, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so 2 of our closest friends in the business are Alexa Dat, who does the pregame and does some sideline stuff, and Katie Wu, who writes for The Athletic. They're really, really great people. They're like daughters to me. They're really good at their jobs, but they're kind of our accountability partners. So they watch and they listen and they text us during the game if we say or do something stupid, which is pretty much every day.
A lot of text.
Yeah, a lot of text. So this year I asked Brad a question about push-ups. I said, do you think you could do 5 push-ups?
I remember this.
And he said, oh yeah, absolutely, sure, no problem. And earlier in the conversation, we had talked about nachos.
Well, ballpark foods.
Ballpark food, how much he likes nachos. So I asked him again, I said, so you think you could do 5 push-ups right now? He said, absolutely. Are you going to feed me nachos?
Well, the way that we did it, we talked about an incentive program.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And what came out of my mouth,
Yes.
which the best ones are when you don't mean to say it. There's a lot of things we mean to say, and then we pawn it off like we don't. What came out of my mouth was, so every time I go down, you'll feed me one? Yeah. 5, 6, 7 pitches, maybe? Afterwards,
So Alexa, Texas, clean it up, you assholes. Somebody say something. Oh my God. Children, go, come on. So that's pretty much every day. And as I said, we have the same warped sense of humor. So it's always going to go to the prepubescent 13-year-old boy mindset. And he'll say something, and I'll say something, and I'll give him the giant unibrow look like this, and he'll lose it, or I'll lose it, and we can't go on.
That is one of our favorite back and forths. Is if somebody's making a point, maybe say something that is a little bit off color. That maybe if you're listening at home, and after tonight you'll listen differently. But maybe you're listening at home, you're like, that sounded different, but probably didn't mean that. I did. And then saying it, and then tossing it right to him. It's like, blah, 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 something inappropriate. Chip?
So,
and the 2-2.
Yeah, there's a guy that pitched for the Reds last year. Worst name ever for a play-by-play guy to ever have to talk about. His name is Buck Farmer.
That's tough.
Buck Farmer.
It's
If you
tough.
do it fast.
If you're talking fast, you messed that one up. So last year I said, hey, the Reds have a new pitcher. Tell us all about him, Brad.
That's Buck. Mr. Farmer.
Yeah.
He's right-handed.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
We have fun. It's, as I said, we're totally sophomoric. We're totally stupid. But I think hopefully you guys enjoy it as much as we do because, my dad and Harry always said it's supposed to be fun. It's not Sunday church. And I'm really, really grateful that I have a partner who not only can play along, but sometimes leads the parade. So I don't get in trouble all the time. But he's so great and so quick and so funny that it makes it really, really easy to tee up those fun special moments.
And you got a special little button in front of you, right?
So there's a misconception about the button in front of us, though. A lot of people think that we have a dump button. If you say a bad word, you can dump it, it's gone. That is not a thing on television. That's a thing on radio. You have a dump button on radio. On television, you don't. If you say it, it's gone. By the way, there are a lot of different mediums that are taking in what we do. So we might be live on FanDuel Sports, and it's like 3, 2, 1, you're live. We could have been live on MLB 5 seconds before that. So you always have to be very aware. So we have a talkback button, and we have a cough button. So talkback, you talk to the producer in the truck. Cough, you're just coughing. It should work that way. And both those buttons should work all the time.
Yeah.
Should work.
Kind of important.
All the time. They don't always work. I found that out 3 games ago when the Braves hit a home run late. Which home run? They hit a few home runs, but they hit this one late. It was the first game of the series.
I think it was Sean Murphy, right?
It was Sean Murphy's.
Yeah,
and it was a laser, absolute laser to left. Chip's great on the play-by-play. He was disgusted / half excited because he's still got brave heart. 20 years there, it'll happen. But he's doing the call. He's wrapping it up, and I'm talking to the truck, and I just go, Jesus! That goes live over the air as Chip is wrapping it up at the end of it. So I got that sent to me from Katie, actually. She's like, hey,
nice job.
Did you hear the call? I know.
One of your best.
I'm so glad that's all I said, because I've said worse into that button, and I will not going forward.
So you guys got a responsibility, right? Because you would keep us entertained. There's not a lot of entertainment right now. But what about the nights you maybe feel a little different, or you just don't have the energy that you normally have? Maybe you're a little tired. How do you get the energy?
I don't really have that problem, I think. And I think I appreciate that about Brad. Look, it's 3 hours, right? If you can't get fired up to go see a Major League Baseball game and to sit in it, for me at least, to sit in a chair that Jack Buck and Joe Buck and Harry Carey and Joe Garagiola and Dizzy Dean sat in, Dan McLaughlin, I mean, there are really great announcers that have sat in that seat. You have a responsibility to put whatever you have going on at home or in your life aside for 3 hours, because our job is to inform and entertain. It's a bigger purpose. It's not about me. It's not about Brad. It's about you guys. It's what we're trying to tell you about your team. You're investing, if not money to be at the ballpark, you're investing your time in allowing us into your home. And we owe it to you to give it to you straight. Here's what's happening. Here's why Ollie's doing what he's doing. And then the game unfolds and we tell you how it happened. But for me, every day is a brand new adventure and a chance to see something that you've never seen before. And that's, as I said earlier, what I love about baseball. No 2 games are ever alike. Ever. There has never been a carbon copy game in the history of our game, and that's what's so exciting. We may go out there tomorrow, and Liberatore may throw a no-hitter. Might not. He might get knocked out in the first inning, but he might throw a no-hitter, and I think that's the joy and the excitement of the unknown that excites me about coming to work every day.
Yeah, and even if you're having a bad day, you're not feeling good, or maybe you stayed out till 4 in New York.
Never happened.
It's a random example. The adrenaline that I talked about earlier is real. That is you snap in and do your job, just like I guarantee you there are some nights that maybe, actually probably less now. I was going to say that some players are out later than they should be. These guys are well behaved nowadays. Good for them. That's and social media has ruined that.
Right.
Guys can't go anywhere anymore. But you lock in when it's game time. You got a chance to go to work. Everybody knows it. I'm sure that most people have gone to work, and whether they're sick or just not having their best day, and they did their job. You do it because it's your job and you love it. We're so fortunate to do what we do, and I think you laid it out perfectly. It's an honor every day. It's one of the coolest things when I get this more, we're on TV for 30 seconds. It's
our faces, yeah.
It's a really most random thing. Our face on for 30 seconds, we have all these suits for no reason. But I realize this more and more when I'm out and about. I could be ordering a coffee or doing something. Somebody hears me, and then they... because you're in their house, which is creepy too. But you're in their house every night. There's a commitment to that from the fan base, and there's we have a job to do. It's a cool thing to have moments like that.
Talk about that ring on your left hand.
Yeah, you told me to bring it, which was smart by you, because generally this is in my underwear drawer. My class ring, 2000, Cimarron Memorial High School. It was a good year.
Very good year,
yeah. Really good year. No, so 2006, obviously we know the end of it, end up winning the World Series. coming off 05 was my first year in the big leagues. I got called up, the most amazing experience of my life.
Can you share that real quick?
Yeah. So I'm in AAA. This is off the heels of in 2004. I had a really good season in the minor leagues, and it put me on the map. I had never been on the map before. I had never been a prospect before. That just wasn't a thing. But I rattled off a bunch of innings in a row of scoreless baseball, and then it got me where I needed to be. So 05 I start in AAA. It's my second year in the minor leagues, and I'm in AAA. And I get about a month into the season, we're on the road, and I get a call from my manager in my hotel room. We just came up, we were having dinner in the little bar restaurant, and he's like, hey, you need to meet me down here. The waitress said you didn't pay your tab. I go, Skip, I paid the tab. He's like, get down here now. I'm scared to death, obviously. Danny Schaefer was his name. He was the manager at the time. And he's like, you didn't pay your tab. I go, I promise I did. Like, let's find her. I promise I did. He goes, you know what? It doesn't matter. You can afford to pay it twice. You're going to the big leagues. I'm like,
Wow, that's cool.
and I'm like choked up. I call my parents. That's the first people you call all the time. They didn't believe me. I had to explain it like 7 or 8 times. Like, no, I swear. Like St. Louis, I'm going to the big leagues, and the coolest experience you'll ever have. The most memorable game of catch I've ever had was on Busch Stadium at Busch 2. My flight was delayed, and I got called up the same day as old lefty Bill Pulsifer. You remember Pulsifer? We got called up the same day. Our flight got delayed. It took forever to get a car to the ballpark, so we kind of show up at like 5 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game, which is really late for a player. Like as a player, I used to get there at like 1 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game. So playing my first game of You're a Big Leaguer catch, fans are already in the stands. It's probably 6 o'clock by the time I actually get out there and play catch. And I was terrified to throw a baseball to somebody, and I've been doing that my entire life. But that was a special one. But fast forward to 2006, 83 games, 83 wins doesn't buy you what it used to, apparently. That's all we won in the regular season. But if many of you guys remember, we had big injuries. Albert Pujols was injured for a lot of the year. Scott Rowland was injured. David Eckstein. And then all of a sudden, October rolled around. We were fortunate enough to sneak into the postseason, and everyone was healthy. And you looked at the lineup card against the Padres, and you go, oh, damn, we're good. Okay, it's go time. And it was. Like, the team just went on a roll. The NLCS, everybody remembers Adam Wainwright striking out Carlos Beltran. And for me, that's more memorable than the World Series. That went 7 games. The place was rocking. But it was a culmination of so many talented players and a lot of young guys stepping up. You had your core veterans, but you had a lot of young guys, especially in the bullpen. A lot of guys that really stepped up. Tyler Johnson from the left side, Josh Kinney from the right side. Randy Flores wasn't necessarily a young guy at the time, but he played a huge role down the stretch. And obviously Adam Wainwright. It was just an amazing, amazing feeling. And as a kid, I guarantee you, some of you in this room have done this. You've been in the backyard, and you are acting like you're winning a World Series. Got to do it. Like, that's the fastest sprint I've ever done in my life. From the bullpen into a dog pile was amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible. Chip, what's your World Series for broadcasting?
Oh, man. Well, my first one was in 1991 and at Old Fulton County Stadium, again, against the Dodgers, opening day. And I was working with Ernie Johnson Sr. I've got a couple of them, if I can.
Yeah.
And in the broadcast booth, they were separated by a big plexiglass wall. So you could see into the booth. And I'm sitting here with Ernie. I just finished doing the lineups. Hey, Harry Wendelstedt will be the home plate umpire. Doug Harvey, blah, blah, blah. We'll be back with the starting lineups after this. I take off my headsets. And I sit there at 24 years old going, oh, my God. I'm in the major leagues. I can't believe this. Well, unbeknownst to me, Vin Scully was standing behind me in the booth, cup of coffee. So Vin Scully, as I take off my headsets, walks out of our booth, walks down the stairs, and walks up to the plexiglass wall and goes, tap, tap, tap. Oh, hey, Mr. Scully, he said, welcome to the club. When Shakespeare says to you, welcome to the club, 24-year-old kid felt like I'd been doing this forever, and it was the most gracious and wonderful welcome that I'll ever experience. So that's game one. Game 7 for me was last year. As I said, our family's not really capable of doing anything except saying ground ball to second. I have 3 sons. All 3 of them want to be broadcasters. One of them is a broadcaster. He's Harry Caray IV. He goes by Chris. He's named after my uncle who passed away. He's doing 130 games for the Sacramento A's. His identical twin brother Stefan did 3 years in AA last year. He's doing podcasting and stuff now and is going to try to get a big league job next year. And I've got a 16-year-old son who sits at home and watches the game on the iPad and keeps score and broadcasts too. Not to mention a 26-year-old daughter who's getting married in November. So game 1 was when the torch was handed to me. Game 7 is handing the torch to them. It's amazing how fast that moment goes between receiving it and handing it off. But as I said, we're very, very grateful that so many people have helped us along the way.
Awesome. So far, give these guys a hand. This is awesome. It is weird. When you were talking, I was like, I feel like I could shut my eyes. And to your point, Brad, that your voice, like, it's just weird for probably all of us, right? You can sit here and be like, holy crap. But like,
it's very Lou Rawls-like, isn't it?
Yes,
I'm just kidding.
I wish I had that voice, but I
Right.
don't. All right, we're going to get to you all in a little bit and ask some questions, so be thinking about those. This is, I got some fast questions for you here. Doesn't mean fast answers, but we got some questions lightning around here. Favorite stadium?
All right, so we won't push, all right? Well,
Right,
home is obvious. My second one is probably Dodger Stadium. I love the atmosphere. I love the vibe. I'm more of a West Coast guy. I grew up in Las Vegas. So getting a chance to pitch there, first of all, it was one of those weird mounds. There are some mounds that you feel like you are on top of the world, like you are the best. And Dodger Stadium, for me, that was one of them. There are other ones where you feel like you're throwing from second base. That was Wrigley for me. Maybe it had to do with all the day games. I don't know. But that was Wrigley. But Dodger Stadium, favorite.
Wrigley, for obvious reasons, was there.
Place
Sorry.
sucks.
I was a Cubs guy. Sorry, hope you'll forgive me. But family history and all that. It's I as an older person, I love the older stadiums. I love the vibe of them. I love Fenway Park for different reasons. What I will say about Wrigley Field is they spent tens of millions of dollars renovating the place, and they actually made the broadcast booths worse, which was almost not possible. But I love Wrigley and I love Petco in San Diego. I think the vibe there, the youthful energy of that place is. Oh, thanks. Wow.
Delivery.
Light pour. Fantastic. And Citi Field, New York, we were just commenting on that. We were there. One thing I think the Cardinals are trying to do at our ballpark is liven up the experience, right? Let's face it, we're not winning the World Series this year. We're not.
That attitude.
Yep, thanks. Sorry. So they're trying to find ways to make the entertainment experience better, younger, fresher. Citi Field was really, really good at that. So Wrigley, Petco, and believe it or not, Citi, and I'm not a New York fan, would be my top 3.
Awesome. Brad, biggest strikeout, person you struck out, and the biggest home run where you're like, holy shit, that guy ripped it.
Oh, boy. The second one, I got a lot of options. First one, biggest strikeout to me, it was the individual and it was the moment. So it was my rookie season. And just a quick little bit of background. I think that you guys probably know the story of most big leaguers. You were the best kid on your little league team every single year. You were the shortstop in high school. You threw gas. You went to college. You went to the big leagues. That is not my story. I was not the best kid on my little league team, ever. I was not the best kid on my high school team, for sure. I pitched 6 innings my senior year of high school. My rookie season, 05, I got a great group of buddies that still to this day, they come visit me. They pick a city and they just come out and visit me. And they came out to Busch Stadium, and we were playing the Yankees. And we went out the night before. We had a great time, and I figured I wasn't going to pitch because I pitched the day before. I'm like, I'm going to go hang out. And the phone rings, day game, and it's like, hey, Thompson, get going. I'm like, okay. Start cranking really fast. They're like, you're in. I'm like, all right, who do I got? Matsui, Sheffield, A-Rod. I'm like, okay. All right. Yeah, of course. Matsui, ground ball, Sheffield, pop up to third, A-Rod, strike out in 3 pitches. And thank you. Yeah, go ahead and clap. Dominated that guy. Who won career-wise? We'll see. I just remember after the game, my buddies meet me at my truck, and they're standing there and look at me. And my one buddy goes, dude, you didn't even pitch in high school. You just struck out 8. I'm like, I know, it's crazy. Let's go somewhere.
That's awesome. Player you guys loved watching growing up?
I know your answer on this one. Well, yours is every time. There are certain people that when they come around, you can tell the admiration other people have for them because they get all like googly-eyed. That's you with Ted Simmons.
Love him. He was my guy, Ted Simmons. Long hair. I was the fat kid that had to catch. So he was my guy. Loved Ted Simmons. Favorite contemporary players were Chipper Jones, who waved to us at the game yesterday. I put my stupid bird hat on and he flipped me off. Felt good about that. Ken Griffey Jr. was the most exciting and dynamic player I ever saw. Loved Andrew Jones, but Ken Griffey Jr. was spectacular. But yeah, Ted Simmons was my guy.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had a couple. My favorite, Ken Griffey Jr., if you grew up a kid in the 90s, like if you didn't like Ken Griffey Jr., you were doing it wrong. He had the hat backward, trying to emulate his swing from the right side. And it was really a special moment for me when I got to actually pitch against Ken Griffey Jr. He was playing with the Reds at the time, but to me, he was still like the guy. Yeah. And I remember them saying, and now batting, Ken Griffey Jr. And I'm on the mound like this. Oh, Jesus. Yes!
Yes.
Like, and I'm like, thinking back, I would love to actually get the video because I think I was ear to ear. Like, yeah, it is. And I'm thinking, will he sign my rookie card, do you think? Maybe. It was, so that was cool. Ground ball to second, if you were wondering.
Beautiful.
I was wondering.
Roll over.
And then the other one's Greg Maddux. So I grew up Las Vegas native, Greg a Las Vegas native. One of my coolest experiences that I've ever had was as a kid, I used to go to the Las Vegas Baseball Academy. And they had a Christmas camp every year, and they would bring back alumni that would, Vegas guys that would help out, and do some guest instructing, take pictures at the end. And Greg Maddux was one of those. Greg Maddux, Mike Maddux. I remember it was Marty Cordova. I'm sure you remember him from back in the day. We had a few guys that were there. And after we won the World Series, and I'd done it a few years prior, but after we won the World Series, I am doing this camp. I am now a guest alumni. And I'm taking a picture under the same LVBA banner with Greg Maddux, with Mike Maddux, and I have those photos at home back to back. It's like one of the coolest things.
That's freaking awesome. Opening day in St. Louis versus anywhere else. I know you guys had Boston this year. Tell us about that.
Well, it's funny. I'm 60, and this is my third year. I have my first opening day, and I grew up in West County, St. Louis native. Opening day, my first year as a broadcaster here was the first time I saw it in person. First time. And it was incredible. You'd watch it on TV or you'd listen on radio. Again, what got me was watching the old Hall of Famers come in on the convertibles and seeing Whitey and Mike Shannon when he was still with us, and Lord, we miss him. Ted Simmons and those guys standing in front of the STL logo, and then the horses come out, right? And Brian Shapiro, our producer, said, hey, we're going to show the pregame show. We got one tip. Don't talk over the horses. So they play the Budweiser theme song, and they go around, and there's not a dry eye in the house. And my wife, who never came to games in Atlanta, came up for opening day. And she said, what should I expect? I said, I don't know. I just know that everybody's going to be fired up and excited. She's sending me videos. People are crying. She's crying because it's such a celebration of who we are and what we are as Cardinal fans. Cardinal Nation's a real thing. It's a real thing. And as a visiting broadcaster coming here, it's what I appreciated most about being at Busch Stadium is the fans, win or lose, show up. They care. They know the game. They applaud good baseball. And they know good baseball. And seeing that tradition passed down generation to generation, year after year, decade after decade, is so amazing, and to be a very small part of that is incredibly humbling and rewarding.
What was the question?
Opening day here versus anywhere else.
Oh, look, I've seen opening days as a player other places. It's one of the coolest moments I've ever had was 05 and getting to shake hands with Stan Musial and Lou Brock and Bob Gibson and Red Shanedeans. Like, we lost so many legends in the last few years. It's been very sad for Cardinal Nation. But there is nothing more special than feeling like you're a part of history going out there. Like, okay, it's almost it's not a passing of the baton, but it's like, hey, we're in the same club. And we're all doing this together. It's the most amazing feeling in the world. And riding on the back of the truck and having your name announced, there's nothing like it. You talk about goosebumps. We were talking about that earlier of the bullpen phone ringing. That's about as good as it gets. And other places have their own history too. I thought Boston was really cool. It was a great opening day this year. One that I would actually like to see, and I haven't had the opportunity yet, is Cincinnati. Cincinnati, obviously a very, very long tradition. The parade that goes through downtown, I would love to see that. But as far, and this isn't just being a homer, but maybe it's because I've worn the uniform before and I've been a part of it. Like, I don't think there's anything better than opening day in St. Louis. And like you said, Chip, it doesn't matter what the expectations are for the season. It doesn't matter what the ball club looks like. That place is packed to the gills because it's part of the identity. It's what we are as a fan base. And there is nothing more special than being a kid from Las Vegas who didn't grow up here, who didn't grow up with opening day, and now being a part of the family. It means the world to me.
It's incredible. This is my last question before we turn it over to you all and turn off the mic or the cameras. So we're at Beyond, right? So Beyond, Ryan High back here, our business partner. We got Annalise here. We've got Alex inside. Sean's still with us inside. So our whole passion, our whole belief in this, yes, is a bar. Yes, this is an awesome time. But it is going beyond your comfort zone. It is going beyond your own imagination of like stuff like this, right? So when you hear the word going beyond your comfort zone, what's it mean to you guys? Go ahead.
Time to think. Good.
Yeah. I'll explain this in these terms. I came from a place where you weren't allowed to go beyond. I came from a place where you were not allowed to have fun. They didn't want your personality to show. They didn't want you to make dad jokes. They didn't want you to laugh on the air. They just wanted you to talk about how great and rosy and sunshiny things were, even when they weren't. Credibility is an important thing, and it was really, really hard to operate that way. Coming here has been incredibly refreshing because we have no limitations on what we can or can't say. If the team plays poorly, I think everybody expects us to talk about it, and we do. When the team plays well, it's all hunky-dory neato. For me, go beyond is learning at age 60 to not be afraid. Not be afraid to put yourself out there. Not be afraid to wear a stupid bird hat or a cat shirt. Not be afraid to laugh at your own foibles on the air. Not be afraid to empower your partners. Not be afraid to be honest about what you see and what you don't. And not be afraid of the prospect of a struggling season, because we all know that in a couple of years, this is going to be really, really great here. It's already great, but I'm talking about the on-the-field product. And when you have wonderful partners to work with, when you have wonderful employers and wonderful fans who are supportive of you and understand what you're trying to do, Beyond is the future. And I can't wait to experience how great the Beyond is going to be.
That was a really good answer going first. That was really good.
Thank you. Sorry, did I help?
Maybe. No, I think that for me, the Beyond is I have been so blessed in my life to have two absolute dream jobs. Dream jobs. I guarantee there's kids right now growing up, they want to be Major League Baseball players. I talk to kids every day. I dream to be a Major League broadcaster. I've had both of these jobs. Beyond to me is to never be complacent. To never take a day for granted, never take an opportunity for granted. Like, that's the Beyond. Because it would be very easy in this job. Like, it's a cake gig, I've got it. Well, just like a player, I guarantee you the last guy that retired wants my job now. And I don't want him to have it, to be frank. So never getting complacent is Beyond to me. And always thinking about how to get better. And that's why, for me, Chip is such a great partner, is because he is always learning. He's always getting better, and he mentioned this a second ago, and I see it every day in him, and I want to emulate it. He empowers others. Like, Chip wants everybody around him to be better, and he will set you up for success. And I've never seen a more inviting person than Chip. And whatever the role is, you might be a new beat reporter, or you might be an intern that is first day on the job. He treats everybody like they've been friends forever. And that's what I want to do. Like, I want to do that. I want to start bringing in more people and empowering others. And I think that's Beyond. Beyond isn't just my success, just Chip's success. It's this kid who is new here or whoever. Like, we can help so many people with our platform. And to me, that's Beyond.
We're placeholders. I think it's the best way to put it, right?
I mean, hopefully for a long time.
Long placeholder.
Yeah, exactly. But we are. And if I can set up Brad, and I will say this, you're very kind. I've said this, and I'll say it now because I like to embarrass him, but I mentioned Mike Shannon a while ago. Mike was such a unique personality, from here, of here, Cardinal through and through, broadcaster for 50 years, so much a part of the community. Brad, as he said, is not from here, but he is of here now. He's in O'Fallon. His family is from here. and he's so imbued himself with the community of the Cardinals. I believe this is the next Mike Shannon for the Cardinals. I think he has a chance to be that kind of a personality. He has such a great wit. He cares. He cares about the franchise. He's a great husband and father. He's a fantastic drinking partner, which is really important. Yep, thanks. Keep going. Yeah. What else? Handsome.
Thank you.
Oh, only 20. Okay.
Only 20.
No, but I mean that. I mean that sincerely, and that's not to butter him up. But you don't, in my chair, run into people who get it as quickly as I think Brad has gotten it. And I hope you enjoy his work as much as I enjoy him. And as good as a broadcaster is, he's been an even better friend.
Love it.